Afternoon, Sarah, and just want to welcome Sarah in my business. I have the opportunity of meeting lots of fabulous people, fabulous women, and Sarah is one of those. And we've International Women's Day, and really that's the ethos of that is about shouting out, celebrating women's success in kind of business, all sorts of areas, sport. And Sarah, kind of mum of three, wife of one, unless there are others, and a kind of sister, aunt, niece, and all round kind of great egg director in Lawn Tender. Your business is Lawn Tender, and also head coach at Marlborough Hockey Club. So just really wanted to give big shout out and just chat with you about some of your experiences in those areas where you might have experienced kind of stereotyping, bias, inequality, all of those sorts of things, because of course for International Women's Day, you know, that charity, that organisation is all about kind of breaking down those barriers and working for equality for everybody. So I'm going to say over to you, Sarah. Do you want to start with hockey first or Lawn Tender first? What should we start with?
Hockey.
Hockey. Let's do hockey. Yeah.
We're fitness orientated.
Yes. So hockey, would you say that in hockey that there are those biases? I mean, I think probably lots of us are aware, particularly in the field of like rugby and football, those sorts of team sports, there can be quite a lot of bias. Women don't maybe get the same exposure, I think is perhaps
I think there are obviously always biases, but I think hockey has been one of the ones that is probably least biased.
Yeah.
Most hockey clubs are male and female, and run mixed sides, have mixed committees. It's quite a strong group of women that tend to be within the playing hockey.
Yes.
And so for everywhere that I've played has been quite equal.
Yeah.
I know certainly at Marlborough it is. We've got probably about half and half on the committee of male female, so we certainly get to say our piece and probably do the majority of the running. Not majority, but you know, we get to say and do what we want to, within reason, obviously. And at the top end, I think the male and female senior teams, the England and GB, they are pretty equal. I think they're paid the same. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I think they are from the Olympic grant that they get. But certainly it's the female team that have been predominantly supported and sponsored, which is different to how it normally works.
Yes.
The female team for England are and GB are sponsored by Vitality. I think you get a very different perspective of things if you have females that are in running things, and if you've got clubs, even clubs that have got female sections, so let's say rugby or football that may have a female team, if you haven't got any of them properly on your committee to represent and to put forward the things that women need or women experience, then you are never going to change.
No.
And things aren't going to get better for females within that sport.
So, I mean, my daughter, she's at uni now, but my daughter, young, both my children went off and played rugby in a local rugby club, and we got to that stage where I think it was like 12 when they went to senior school, 11, 12, and then at that stage the girls were split away from the boys. Now there could be all sorts of reasons. I seem to recollect, not least of all is kind of development, how the girls develop, and various other kind of issues. You know, typically boys, not all, but typically boys, I guess, can grow kind of taller, bigger before the girls do. So I think that was a concern, and also I think it was a concern they didn't necessarily want them then doing contact.
Yeah, I think certainly within rugby, it's definitely a physicality thing, isn't it? That, you know, even within boys, they grow at different speeds, but the female and the boys, it changes exponentially. So you can understand that splitting off, but then it obviously throws up other issues of they may have not got enough people to play or enough opposition to play, so that they drift away from those sports.
Yes.
I think within hockey, you can pretty much play male and female together. I mean, we mix up boys and girls with adults pretty much across from sort of 13, 14. We'll quite happily play a mix. We might have to say to the men, don't hit it quite so hard if you've got the younger people on there, but you can, because it's more technical, I suppose. I think it's empowering and encouraging girls to know that they can play within that environment.
Yes.
With adult women, which we do. So from 13, 14, they can play in senior teams. Yeah. So, you know, that's really good for their growth and development, and being around other people that are not their parents or their teachers.
Yes.
Which we find, you know, gives them, it certainly empowers them to have conversations with people, to be able to talk to different people. But we can do that within the mixed environment as well.
Yes, yeah.
We do that in summer league, where we mix everybody up, male, female, whatever age.
Yes, yeah, so that's brilliant. So then they learn that confidence to converse with all sorts of different people, different ages, different genders, and as you say then, and because they're seeing, you know, women and men doing different roles, there's not a stereotype. You know, they kind of learning to grow without necessarily having those preconceived kind of ideas already kind of embedded in there. So it sounds to me like hockey is like the beautiful game.
Doing the right thing for any child to play,
yeah,
female. But I think girls are it's very easy for girls to be put off from doing anything physical when they get to their teenage years, because they worry about how they're going to be perceived, about the physical changes within their body.
Yeah.
That they need to know it doesn't matter, that they're there and you have to work with those things, but you can do what you want to do, and you've got to find something that you love to do. It's really hard. I mean, that's why I've always done the coaching thing, because I want to encourage people to do it. I want people to, if they can, have an opportunity to play. You know, for me it's hockey, but whatever it might be. But it's just to get them to know how important it is, and not to be put off by the perception that sport is for boys.
Yeah.
It's not. But on TV and everything, I mean, it's starting to get better.
Yes.
But visibility, and I think that the line is, you can't be what you can't see.
Yes.
And women's sport has been very badly let down by the powers that be it on TV or radio or whatever, that don't give it the exposure that it needs to have to encourage people. All we can do to encourage children to play sport from a young age, to be involved, hopefully if they keep going.
Yeah.
I think it's when you stop completely, and then it's hard to get back into.
Yes.
We worked really hard at the hockey club to keep that teenage girl element engaged.
Yeah.
And it is about working with them, it's about talking to them, it's about listening to them, it's about making sure that you think about how they feel. You know, it might be changing rooms, you know, how you manage changing rooms and things like that to keep them in it, because they might not want to come in. You know, you get one changing room and you've got age from 50 odd to 14, you know, they might not want to get changed in front of, you know, 3 or 4 50-odd-year-old women or 30-odd-year-old. It's about, sometimes you have to think, is how do we manage this situation so that they don't feel uncomfortable, and then it becomes easy to say I'm not going to do it because I feel uncomfortable. I think as long as I feel that if I can do my little bit to encourage and to keep people playing within my little area, then at least I'm doing something. At Marlborough for 16 years, I would say now, I think it is roughly 16, 17 years. So I've done it because I was given a lot through people coaching me as a child, so I'm kind of giving back. But you know, people come and go through coaching, and you get that within clubs. So sometimes, and funding, it depends what funding is available. So sometimes there is funding available through different sports to develop, and through Sport England you may be able to get a hold of grants to say, right, let's focus at girls for rugby or football or whatever it might be.
Well, it certainly sounds to me as though hockey have kind of got it nailed, really. There's
better than others.
Better than others. But with your business, with your business Lawn Tender, and you know, that's what, like 17 years old now, that business, did you? Yeah. When you were setting up, did you kind of experience any biases?
I think because it's our own business, so that's, you know, we set it up, my husband and I set it up together, so that's been equal the whole way through. I work outside, I do the office work, he does office work, he works outside, so we're fairly equal. He'd say we're unequal because I don't work as much as he does, but I've looked after the 3 children and done all the other stuff. But we've done that. But in the past, you know, I have had what I call a proper job, you know, where I wore heels and makeup and went to work.
Yeah.
And I, you know, bias, there is always bias out there in the business world. I mean, I had quite a good job, and definitely came across bias at times in promotions. And, you know, I mean, the classic one I had was I was actually pregnant, but it should have been irrelevant. And my boss was leaving, and he rang me and he said, "Oh, we assumed you wouldn't want to go for my job, so we're putting Rob's going to be going for it and and it's like, hang on there, just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean I don't want that job." And I think they got me on obviously a hormonal day because I was absolutely furious. And so they had to open it up to me to apply for it, and I didn't get the job, but I got a massive pay rise. So you have to be not scared to challenge it when it comes up.
Yes.
If it does come up and it's not fair, there was, you know, yes, I was pregnant, but there was no reason I couldn't have done the job. No. So it was, that was my classic one of complete bias. My boss was a bit surprised that I was so angry about it. I think they thought I was going to toddle off and not bother. And I was going back. So I was going back after I had Georgina. So, you know, and I did go back.
Yes. I think lots and lots of women have had similar experiences. I was once upon a time in the corporate world. I wasn't passed over for promotion when I was pregnant, but certainly, and I went back when mine were pretty young, but certainly after having Kira, my second, I then wanted to negotiate part-time, and that was like pushing treacle up a hill. I mean, you had to fight tooth and nail for whatever you wanted, really. But not in an aggressive way, but you had to be really assertive, kind of dogmatic, really persistent, and you know, understand a little bit about what they could and couldn't do from a human resources kind of law.
Again, it's that, don't underestimate yourself, and don't. I think lots of us have that imposter syndrome at times where we don't believe we should be where we are.
Yes.
And actually you should. believe yourself.
Yeah.
If you are doing a good job, and you know, it is all those things, isn't it? We taught my eldest daughter through, you know, through, I suppose, the support we've given her and her sport, to playing sport and things, the confidence that's given her. She's certainly been confident enough to walk into the room and know her value and ask for her value.
Yes.
Role, and you know, it's done her the world, you know, until the pandemic came. But you know, it had been good for her.
Yes.
At her age, you know, it's very good that somebody is confident enough to walk into a room and say, actually,
Yeah.
I am deserving of that pay rise that you need to give me.
Yes.
And be able to back it up with why. You can't just go and ask for something, but you can back it up.
Yes, 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 and all for the meritocracy, really. Certainly, my feeling is that whomever, you know, whatever the role is, the person who has the best skills, best fit, kind of aptitude. There was another word that popped into my head and then disappeared again. But you know, has all of that right skill set, that is the right fit for that role. Should be the person who's, you know, taken on and encouraged. But also we should encourage our ladies, as you say, to go, hang on a minute, you know, this is not acceptable.
Book, actually, that I mean, I think I've talked to you about this in the past, but there's a really good book that if people are interested in reading more about bias. The Invisible Women by Caroline Perez. It's really good. But it goes into all sorts of different things about how the world is not really designed for women, because quite a lot of the time women aren't in the design process or in the research, or you know, in health and research. Women and their hormones is too much of a problem sometimes, so they're just not in the research, and then they wonder why it doesn't work for them. Yeah, we're too difficult. That's the problem. Women are too difficult.
Yes.
It's a really interesting read. And the other one on sport, I think you've read this because I mentioned it.
Yes, I've got that. Yes, and it was you who suggested that. That was a real eye-opener as well, about some of the things that women have to, you know, deal with in sport that they shouldn't have to deal with.
And there's some really interesting books. And I also think, because it was World Book Day yesterday.
Yeah.
And there was quite a few women women sports people and things put pictures of their bookshelves up, because you know, you've got mine there, but that's just full of rubbish reading. But lots of people have, there's lots of sport books that are very male orientated, be it autobiographies or coaching or research. But quite a few women put up pictures of their bookshelves of books about women or for women or by women in sport. And it was quite empowering, actually, to see that there are actually more and more coming through. But as women, we have to support each other. That's what International Women's Day is about, really, isn't it? It's about supporting women and empowering the women around you to be confident and happy and do and be the best they can.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think International Women's Day it's obviously, it's a global thing, but it's also about what we can do, each of us individually, in the worlds that we inhabit, you know, in the environments that we're in. You know, you with my fitness, and kind of you with your hockey and your business and other things, and other women who are involved in other things, is to call out any of those stereotypes or those biases and any of those inequalities that we might be seeing in the areas of the world that we inhabit. Is having the courage and the strength to call those out and go, woof, that's not acceptable. Wind it in. You know, it's about having the courage to do that, and you know, each of us encouraging, as you say, and supporting each other in the journey that we are on. For our children going forward, I think I certainly get the feeling certainly with my eldest at uni, they seem to be much more inclusive, much more accepting. So I think that we probably will start to see change taking
Yes,
place.
I think our children's generation is very, very different. They should be strong women
Yes.
who know their worth, who believe in themselves.
Yes. Yes. And it should be the same for all females out there in particular, but people are raised in different circumstances, aren't they?
Yes, so I'll carry on doing my coaching and carry on trying to get as many girls playing sport as I can and keep playing sport so that they go off to university and out into the world of work and can join a club somewhere, anywhere, and make friends and have that gives them confidence to do that.
Yes, definitely. Well, I am going to say thank you very much, Sarah. Unless there's anything else burning that you'd like to say, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Talk too much anyway. I always talk too much.
No, I love it. It's a pleasure talking to you, and it's a pleasure. And I'm so chuffed that you came along to my classes and still continue to come, and you're part of that community.
No, I love